welcome to Why I Let's Knit Suffolk Socks podcast. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm feeling a bit like, I've got like a fluttery feeling in my chest. Either that or I'm having a heart attack. Today is Friday. No, it's not. It's Thursday today. And I thought I'd get in a podcast before I go and get my granddaughter for a bit of play. My name's Julie. I'm coming to you from my home in Suffolk, where I live with my husband and my dog and cat. All my kids have left home, so we're officially empty nesters and we're loving it. I run Suffolk Socks, which is an online wool shop that specialises in commercial and indie dyed yarn. And I'm also the dyer and creator behind the Yarn Tart label, which dyes yarn, and we have our own pins which should be arriving this week, and a few project bags which is fun, slogans and what have you. So welcome. So let's start. This is going to be a podcast all about knitting and crafty life in general, whether it be crochet, sewing. I do make a lot of my clothes, dresses and what have you. I'm particularly fond of the Merchant and Mills patterns, so I have a fair few Canva dresses because that's my good to go dress, and I have a crochet blanket on the go. But I'm not a crocheter, even though I could crochet before I could knit. And sewing, I love quilting, but I just dip into that every now and again. So I have got a quilting project on the go, but it gets worked on so little that really it wouldn't be worth bringing down. So I thought we'd talk about finished objects. Now I have got a few finished objects, but actually I forgot to bring them downstairs. My workshop's just above here. I'm recording in the living room, so I didn't really want to bring too much stuff down. I have got, I will show you, I can't show you my surprise party shawl by Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade. I believe she made this. Was it with Hugh Local collaboration? And she made it as part of a thing, I think, for Rhinebeck for the grocery girls. Anyway, I don't know I haven't got the details quite right. So, but I'm sure you can find all the details on Helen's blog posts and what have you. So this is it, and this is in all my hand-dyed yarn. As with all of Helen's patterns, an absolute delight in it. She holds your hand from start to finish with her line-by-line instructions and stitch counts and what have you, percentage charts. But really lovely. Cast on at the top and increase out. The yarn I chose, the yarn is all part of a school socks range, which I do. Most of my patterns and designs are all, and yarns are all based around school socks rocks. I used to love new school socks. So I know this one is Prunes for Pud, which is all a bit of a nightmare for a school pudding. I don't know if they get prunes and custard for pudding now. Anyway, this one's Geeky Girls Knit, Head Girl, Happy Snaps, Dinner Ladies Are Bossy, and Backseat of the Bus, School Bus, something like that. I can't really remember. It was a range I had out a while back, but I nabbed one each skein. I did run out when we got to the bottom of the main colour because I'd actually put a few rows extra in, which wasn't an issue for me because you actually just use a little bit. I wouldn't say you'll probably use no more than 10 grams, 20 grams, not very much. I've got enough left of each colour to knit a pair of socks, so I just stuck a colour, a line of each shade in two lines. But thoroughly enjoyed knitting it. I'm a right one for soft. It's a dilemma I have. I always go towards the soft shades for knitting, but actually my colour choices for clothes are usually quite bright, like this jumper, whilst it's not glaringly hitting you in the face, it is quite bright for me. And this is the Confetti by Vera Valimaki, and the wool is John Arbin 4-ply knit by numbers. This pattern I absolutely love. It is my it is like my vanilla sock pattern. I can pick it up and knit it and just absolutely love it. So I'm on to my third one of these, which I'll show you in my works in progress. So I have a tendency, I knit another one, the Winterly by Suvi Samola, out of the Lane magazine, the first Lane magazine. And because I wasn't sure of the sizing and what have you, I decided to use all the sizing and stitch count from the confetti, but just add the design detail from the Suvi Samola Winterly design, because the fit fits me perfectly. It's increased down the raglan, and then it's like an A-line design, and you can make it you can increase as much or as little as you like, and because it's top down, I just increased it till I was happy with it, and it's got 3/4 length sleeves, but I absolutely wear this to death. It is like, I've just got that jumper on again. Stupid, but I don't care because I absolutely love it. Getting back to what I said, yeah. So I always knit with soft pastel colours, but this, for all it's lovely, it's actually a little bit pale for me, but I'm still going to wear it. I don't care. The Picot bind off was a bit of a killer for me with all those stitches, but beauty comes with a little bit of pain. That's what I say. So there you go. That's lovely. And that's a Curious Handmade Design. I'm sure you're all familiar with Helen's designs. Right. So that's really the only finished object I've got that I've brought down to show you. Oh, look at my hair, it's such a mess. I'm letting it grow a little bit for my son's wedding. I used to have long hair years ago, and then I got it all chopped off. But I find in the summer I love tying it up, so it's always looking messy. And I hate brushing my hair. So I don't know why. So I thought, let's talk whips. Works in progress. And there's always a few here at Suffolk Socks. I make no apologies. I don't worry in the slightest about how many sock projects I've got on the go. Let me just tie my hair back. In fact, I'm at my happiest when I've probably got about 10 on the go. I always knit the first one and then cast on the second, then I can cast on a new one. So I always, well, I'm saying that's just my method of the way I work. So the only socks I've got to show you and are my vanilla socks. I haven't even brought a sock blocker down to show you. And this is in my wool. I'm knitting these as a test just to see what my wool was. The wool was knitting up. Oh, I've dropped stitch there. And these are my plain vanilla socks. And I've changed the design on this a little bit. I was thinking, we all get a bit hung up, don't we, on the line that's sometimes caused when we're decreasing and what have you. So I thought, I'm going to put an intentional line in. So all I did was I introduced where the line sometimes appears, I introduced a yarn over and what have you. And it just gives a vanilla sock a little bit of a kick, sort of pun. And that's that one. And it's really, I love it. Absolutely nice. Because it's absolutely lovely. It was nice to knit. I've decided on all my designs, I always use a 2.5 and a 60 stitch count, because when I'm knitting a cast on, because when I'm knitting a patterned sock, that fit is great for me. But I've noticed over the last few socks I've knit, my plain vanilla socks are getting a little bit loose, after one wear. And a loose pair of socks can be as bad as a tight pair of socks, really. Oh, excuse me. When you're wearing them. And I notice when I'm sitting down, my heel always seems to spin around the front. Oh, excuse me. I've been coughing and spluttering all morning. So what I've done is, for these, I've gone up to I've gone down to a 2.25mm needle and up to a 64 stitch cast on. And the other thing I've done is I've gone back to using DPNs. I haven't used DPNs for years. It gets a bit trendy, doesn't it? Like the miniatures, the little fixed circs or the magic loop and what have you. And I've been thinking, I wanted to get these knit quickly, and if I can knit with when I knit socks with DPNs, I can rattle them off, because that was the way I first taught myself to knit socks, going back 20 odd years. And so I haven't used DPNs for ages, so I thought to myself, I'm going to have a bash with DPNs. So I got some, and I'm absolutely loving it. This is the second one. I've got my standard signature twisted cuff into the vanilla, into the, oh God, put my brain in gear today, into my standard heel flap with the 3-stitch garter tab, and then down into my straight star toe. I've changed this slightly actually. The straight star toe, usually I have you know, you knit, it's a standard toe, so you knit, you knit 2, purl 1, knit to your last 2 stitches on that needle, purl 2 together. Then on the next row you knit, then on the row after that you would knit 3, purl 1, so your purl stitches go across. But I've been doing it so you just purl, so you always knit 2, purl 1, so it's a straight line going up. But I decided to change this one just for, you know, a bit of variety. So yeah, love it. This is called It Started With a Kiss, and it's just a cream undyed wool. Then I added splashes of pale grey and black with the softest of pinks. I don't even know if it's picking up. Let's see if it's picking up. That is just the softest of a blush pink. Absolutely love them. These are for, I think these will go in my gift box actually. And with the wool I dye, I have a tendency not to dye the same colours, repeat the same colours, but I've got 3 colourways that I think I'm going to repeat, that I took quite detailed notes down. Now the other sock I've got is again a plain vanilla sock with a 64 stitch cast on, sorry. I've got a new cuff that I'm working out, which is just, and it's like a turnover cuff, down into a standard heel. Now on this one, what I've done is, you know, sometimes people are worried about, well, they're not worried, you know, there's other things to worry about rather than the heel of your sock. They don't like the hole that sometimes appears. So what I've done is I've made that hole intentional, and I've just put a yarn over it. So there, can you see? And I thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to stick with that. I just made a hole there, and that can be part of the thing. I'm going to knit another pair because I've got a few places where I think I might just incorporate the yarn overs to see what it looks like. It's, you know, my sock, my feet. It's not breaking any rules. You know, and it'll be a mission, so nobody else see it. And this has been really popular, this colourway. This one is called Kissing in the Back Row. And this is like with a deeper pink, more bordering on a cherry red with the same grey splashed all over it. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And this is it in the cake. Ooh. And again, this will go in my knitting box. The Make 9, hashtag Make 9's been really popular on Instagram at the minute, hasn't it? And I spent ages going through all my, actually, oh, and it's in my, just my little woolen bag that I made a few years ago. And I spent ages going over all my Ravelry pages, you know, my library, and I'm going to have to stop buying patterns. So yes, so I spent ages deciding, oh, what I wanted in it, you know, and you do get a bit hung up, don't you, on trend. You know, everybody went mad last year for the Find Your Fade, and this year I think they're all going mad for the, and quite rightly so, the beautiful, all the colour work that's going on. And I spent ages deciding this, and I thought, right, this is what I'm going to knit. I've written it down, took photographs, put it on Instagram, went into my stash room and got a knitting bag and some needles and a pattern, and that it wasn't even on my list. It was a jumper for my son for this Christmas, 2018. So I revised my Make 9, and I've decided that my Make 9 is going to be more about who I knit for rather than what I want to knit. So I've picked my husband. Well, I've got a, you know, I'm imagining the 9 grid on the Instagram, and in each square I've put a name or a symbol. So I've got one for Lucy and Phoebe, who are my 2 daughters. I've got one for my husband and me, so that's 4. I've got one for my son, one for my daughter-in-law, one for Matilda, my granddaughter, and then I've got 2 more. One is that right? Me? Yeah. No, and I've got 1 more, which is the symbol, my logo, my pin, and that is going to be for my friends. So I've got 9 people, that 9 squares. So Matilda's always going to have something on the go, and I thought I might knit. Oh, and I've got my mum and dad. That's it. I thought I might knit a couple of friends something lovely. I've got a few knitworthy friends who are lovely friends that I think, you know, I'd like to knit for them. So I'm going to leave that open. They might get the same, they might get something different, but just something small. Anyway, so the first one on my square is Tom. And Tom, I'm knitting for Thomas, my son. I'm knitting the flax jumper. It's a tin can knit design. I've been wanting to knit this for a while, but I'm a stickler. If I see a knitting pattern, I usually get what they recommend, and then I know with socks I can just, you know, I'm really confident knitting socks, and I suppose anyway, jump as I am as well, but I wanted to get this perfect. But I decided to do a little bit test on this, and this is the flax using Aran Moore Aran wool from the Fibre Company, the Fibre Co. And this colour is called, do they have the colours on? Do you know they should have? Oh, Glenveigh Castle. This is it. I bought this when I was up in Cumbria a few years ago, and Daphne, who owns the Fibre Company, was there with all the colour samples, and she gave a lovely talk one evening on how this was developed, and it was just fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So I bought 10 skeins of it, really for my husband. I was going to knit my husband an Aran jumper, but the pattern I'd picked for him he didn't like. It was a bit, it's like high stand-up knitting buttons, and it just, I knew really when I was getting it that it wasn't him. So it's been sitting in my stash for a while. So what I thought was, I'll knit my son one because he's lovely and knit-worthy. And this is it. It's knitting up just gorgeous. Now, I'm not in a rush to finish it, so, you know, it might get finished November this year, as long as he has it in time for Christmas. And it's got the garter ridge along, and I love this because it's a heavily tweeded effect pattern. So I have done a few mistakes where I forgot a garter, do the garter stitch, but it doesn't matter, does it? You know. But yeah, I'm really loving it. So I hope it fits him. The colour has been approved, and so yeah. So I'm up to, I haven't even got up to where I break the arms. You know, whatever you call it. I can't get my words into gear today. Mind you, I can't get my words in gear any day. I'm tired this morning, I think. So that's in there. I've got plenty of wool. As with Helen's designs, the ladies who design are the ladies of Tin Can Knits. Absolutely love their patterns, love them. And the range from something like 0 to 6 months to either a 4XL or a 5XL. I couldn't be sure on that one, but I know it's definitely 4XL. So there's a great range. So I'm thinking what I might do is, for Christmas, I might knit Matilda a cardigan and Lydia the same cardigan but in a different colour. Because that shouldn't be too bad, because Lydia is such a tiny, tiny person. So I'll be quite quick to knit. So, and that's it there. I'm not sure. It's a ball pattern. Oh, I can never. Oh, I don't even know. There. I don't think I'm giving anything away that isn't available. No, I'm not really. Yeah, Flax by Tin Can Knits. So there you go. So that's my first WIP. It's in my bag that I made ages ago. So that's that. My second WIP is in my fringe bag. And I just thought I'd show you this. This is my new pin. There. I've just had these in. This is my logo, and part, it's part of Suffolk Socks. It's in the name, and my daughter designed this, and she's an illustrator. So I've had pins made. Right, so this one is again another confetti. Changed the style a little bit, not too much. And what I've done is I've knit down to underneath the bust line, and just to give it a bit of a change, because I quite like the idea of a boxy, but I didn't like the idea of casting on. Well, actually, I cast on for my size in the boxy, and that was about 490 stitches. Honestly, it was driving me mad. And then I realised it was going to be absolutely massive for me. So I got in touch with Danny and asked what size she was knitting, even though I'm a bit bigger than Danny. And she's going to have hers at Cumbria, so I might have a look at hers, and I can judge what size I will need. But a couple of my friends are knitting the boxy, so I might just have a bash at theirs. Anyway, so what I've done is this. Once I've got to the bodice, and once I've got to where I've split for the armholes, and now I'm just knitting the bodice, I've knit to underneath the bust line, and my middle front, on the front, the middle 20 stitches and the back middle 20 stitches, I've increased twice into each stitch, so it gives me a gathered, I don't know, a gathered effect. So it'll like give it a bit more, and I've still kept the A-line shape, but not as much. So where it says increase every 6 rows, I'm increasing something like every 12 to 15 rows, and I'm trying it on as I'm going, but loving it. And this is in my BFL. I think it's in BFL, I can't remember. Oh, I'll tell you, I've got the ball band here. It's in my Suffolk base wool, and I dyed it. It's in the Mama J colourway, and it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this is it. My ball band's a bit faded. I've just had new ball bands printed, so there you go. And this is it. And this is in the Mama J colourway, which is Suffolk Socks own colours. And I made it to go with the pin. Isn't that lovely? And it knits up beautiful. I haven't knit any socks with it, funnily enough, but I am knitting a jumper, and I'm chuffed to bits with it. I'm alternating the skeins. There's no method to it really. I'm just knitting a bit, then I'm getting a ball of wool out of my bag and blending it in. It's not too bad actually. The only ones I've kept separate are the ones on the sleeve, so that I don't have a... So I've managed to get it fairly similar. So yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with that, and I'm knitting that on my higher sharps, which are bloody sharp. I've got the callus on the end of my finger to prove it. Oh gosh. So right, so that's that. So that's 2 of my boxes being worked on. So my socks are kept in my fringe bag with all my pins on. I received, where is she, Tracy? My friend Tracy sent me this, Nora George. She's gifted me this a few weeks ago. And then I got that off Soul Sweet Violet. So we were all at the retreat together. And I got that one off Helen when we were at Pom Fest together. And that one, I'm sure I've told you, I pinched that out my son's car. Can't think of anything other way to describe it. And that one I got off my friend Jackie, who's lovely. And this one off my other lovely friend Tony, who'd been in Australia. Tony and Jackie are very good friends of mine, and we always go to a cafe in East Berkhull, which is local to us, and spend the afternoon knitting with a cup of coffee, well, a couple of cups of coffee actually, and we'll have lunch, and then later on we'll have another cup of coffee and we'll have cake, and then when we've been there for about 3 hours, because we've got quite friendly with the lady who owns it, who's lovely, then we go and have a look, peruse around the shop, because it's got beautiful quilting material and what have you. Then we go back to Jackie's for another cup of coffee. We'll spend the afternoon, virtually the day together, knitting and what have you. So yeah, so that's my bag that comes with me with all my favourite things on. That keeps all my socks in, which are kept in my Knitting is for life, not just for Christmas. This is my other bag. I sell these, they're calico bags that I sell in the shop. And I decided to have a go dyeing a few different colours. So I've dyed them, and you know, they're absolutely lovely. But I'm just keeping some wool in it, just to make sure the dye doesn't come out the canvas. So the final things on my needles. Now this is a rarity for me. When something becomes a commitment, knitting wise, it's just a no-go for me. That's why I don't do many cals and stuff like that. But I got a message from one of my friends to say that Mina Phillips was looking for test knitters for one of her children's patterns she's just designed. And I was like, I hummed and hawed, and I thought, shall I, shan't I? And I had a look at the design, and I thought to myself, do you know, I could quite fancy knitting that. I've got enough yarn. I don't ever have any double knit in my stash, but I have got some leftover from a cardigan that I dyed wool for. So I got in touch with Mina, because I know Mina, and I said, you know, I'd be willing to knit the 1 to 2 year old if she wanted to test knit and what have you. Yeah, and she did. I think she's got a fair few test knitters. So I got the pattern. There is a lot of pattern pages. I think there's about 10 pattern pages, but you know, that might be the norm really, because I have a tendency to knit the same things. That sounds boring, doesn't it? I knit socks. I know socks off pat, so I never have a big sock pattern and what have you. But I've had a good read through it, and I can't actually think how she could do it any differently, because there's a fair few sizes. I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, from 0 to 6 months to 6 to 8 years. And so once I had a really informative, really good pattern, and this is it. It's called the cable pattern, is it? Cable. She said if anybody had another idea for it, the name, we could tell her. The cable child cardigan, that's it. And we've been given permission. You know, she did say we could show it off. What have you? Some people have finished already. Thank God we don't need it till the 21st of March, I think. But this is it. Oh, do you know, I'm absolutely loving it. There's a big cable down the back with 2 cables running up the front. And I tried it on Matilda when she was yesterday, or the other day. She wasn't too impressed having to try a cardigan on with the knit needles when she was running away. I was chasing after her. She was more upset because I've pinched her shopping bag. This is a shopping bag that she has in her toy basket in our house. And I pinched that to put it in. So she kept trying to take it out and put all her bricks and stuff in. But I wouldn't let, well, I did actually let her, and then I've just pinched it back. So yeah, that's lovely. So it's, you know, when it comes out, when it's published, it is well worth taking a look at if you've got children in that, you know, like children you would like to knit for in that age range. But really, really lovely. Really well written. And yeah, so hopefully I do the pattern justice and haven't found any mistakes. Well, I thought I found a mistake, and actually it was just me. I'd left my knitting brain probably in the next street. By the time I had this conversation with Mina, I don't know, it was more confused her or me. And I just said, I'll go back and read it. Poor Mina. So there wasn't any mistakes, Mina, sorry. And that's that. That's all I have got on the needles that is worthy of showing. I've got a few things coming up in March. Well, actually, saying that, my husband surprised me this morning with a weekend away this weekend. I'm so excited. We're going to go away. We're going to go away in my caravan, because we've got a caravan. And he came down the stairs and said, I've made an executive decision. We are doing this. We are going here. And because Lucy's going to come and stay here. So I'm like, yay, how exciting is that? So we'll be going off at some point over the weekend. And we're very lucky that Lucy will come and stay here and look after the animals. So I'll just got to get a load of food in for her. And which isn't too bad, because, I'm a mum, home from home. Might leave her a pile of washing to do. Who knows? Leave the hoover around. So that's this weekend. And then the following weekend, I'm having a knit session, a knit afternoon here. I often have it probably about once a month, once every other month. I have a knit group at my house. Well, I'm saying a knit group. It's not. It's just a group of my friends come round and we'll have a bit of knit. And there's far too many biscuits. But, they all get eaten. And what's left, I usually take the knit group on a Monday that we'll go up to up the pub up the road. So that's on the 3rd. And then on the following weekend, it's Mother's Day, Mother and Sunday. I'm not big on Mother and Sunday. Oh, I've got something sticking in my foot. It's always been a case of a pound bunch of daffodils for us. And it was like that when I was growing up. So I've demanded that. Well, I haven't demanded. I've insisted my kids come round on the Saturday with their cards and presents, or just their presents, as in their presents, not presents. So I'll see them at some point. But then, because on the Sunday, I'm going up to Cumbria, to the Curious Handmade Country House Retreat with Helen Stewart and Meta. They co-host the week up in Melmaby in Penrith, and this will be about the 5th or 6th time I've been. I've been to every one and made firm friends with everybody, and actually it's so comfortable going back, because it's lovely. I even know where the teaspoons are in the drawers and what have you, so I can go make a cup of coffee, and I think, oh, this is just so, it's like having a holiday cottage, but it's massive. I don't own it. It costs me an arm and a leg, but I don't care. So I'm getting the train up there, and I'm getting the really early train. I'm leaving at 7:30 in the morning, just because my daughter lives in London and my connection's in London. So I'm going to go in and meet her at Euston Station and have coffee with her, and I'm going to have breakfast with her and spend half an hour with her just before I get on my train, which will be lovely. So then I'll head straight up to Penrith, and I believe there's quite a few of us on the train. We're not all sitting together, I don't think. Well, I know we're not. I think we've all booked independently, and I did make such a palaver out of that ticket. I was lying in bed on Sunday and I got an email from Trainline with an amended travel journey for my journey that day from Edinburgh, and he had gone and booked February the 18th instead of March the 18th. Oh my God, instant hangover cure. Well, it wasn't really a hangover cure, but I was feeling a bit fragile. So I dived out of bed, phoned up Trainline to find out my ticket, my first class ticket, was non-refundable, non-changeable. Oh, honestly, I was nearly peeing my pants. Honestly, I was so upset. But the man said he felt so sorry for me that they would give us a refund. So they give us a refund of all but £20, which, considering what I paid for it, £20 really didn't matter. And then I made my husband buy the next ticket when I went on and booked it for the right day. I was like, can you just check this? You press the button, and if it's wrong, it's your fault. So we did that, but I've got the right ticket and what have you, which actually is better, because I was going to have to leave at 12, but the train I'm getting back is at 3, which means, and Emma, who I'm going with, her train's at 3, so we can spend a bit of time together. So anyway, so I'm going up to Cumbria from the Sunday till the Wednesday. And then on the Wednesday afternoon, there are a few of us going up to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. Some of us I'm going up with Emma and Dale. We're staying in the same hotel, and I think another lady is Pat. But a few others are going up, and they're staying somewhere else. So we're all going up independently, really. And so yes, I'm really excited. I am actually really excited. I've managed to get tickets for a Wednesday knit night for Emma, Dale and I at one of the pubs or venues across Edinburgh somewhere. And then on the Thursday night, Emma and I are going to the big knit night up at the Corn Exchange. And that's about it. I'm going to be meeting up. We're all staying in the middle of Edinburgh, but at some point over the 3 days, I'm going to be meeting up with my friend Catherine, who's Knitting with Catherine, who I think is one of the tutors up at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I met Catherine a long time ago, and we've remained firm friends. So I'll be meeting up with her, and I'm going to be meeting up with Lucy of Lucy Locketland, who I know quite well, because she's from my neck of the woods, and I went to one of her retreats, so we're going to meet up, and she knows Catherine quite well, so we're all going to meet up for a coffee. And there's a few other ladies going to be up there that I know that I don't get to see very often, that will all meet up. The thing is with knitting, isn't it? It's all so inclusive, isn't it? You know, I know, you know, like there's Catherine in Edinburgh, Lucy up in Northumberland, and me down in Suffolk. But we'll all meet up and have a coffee because we know each other via knitting, through knitting. And it's just lovely. Absolutely love it. Some of my knitting friends are my best friends. It's great. Absolutely love it, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then so that's in March, and then it's all stations go when I get back, because my son and his lovely, lovely partner are getting married in July. So that's that. And then in September I'm off to Edinburgh with my friend Emma from Cumbria. I'm off to Shetland Week, so it's going to be a busy while for me. I don't have any plans for purchases at Edinburgh. I've gone through every permutation how I could stop myself buying stuff. I do know on the Thursday I will not buy a thing. I won't buy anything. Because I'll just have a look around. I was like that at Pomfest. I just look around and have a think. I'm a bit of a thinker with stuff like that. I do know for a fact I'm going to be buying some John Arbon's Knit by Numbers wool for some intended #Make9 revised for me. I think it'll be for Lydia and for Matilda in a DK weight, so I'll be doing that. I've made Matilda the Lush cardigan before, so I think it might be yarn for that, which would be lovely. So yeah, so that's all I've got in mind, really. There's a few stalls I want to have a look at, but I'm just going to go completely with an open mind. I want to go and have a look at Isolde Teague's blend #1. I find that intriguing. I'm going to go and have a look at that. I'm not buying any sock yarn, which, I've got a sock yarn shop. I've got loads upstairs. And so that's that. I will give you a quick shop update. I've had a massive order come in of opal. Well, it's not massive. I buy about 5 balls of each shade. Because I like to change my range often. So I've got every shade of the new Love range and the new Sahara range in it. Does not disappoint. So that's just come in, and I've got quite a bit of hot socks from Grundle just come in as well. I've had another order just arrived this week. So that is just fabulous to knit with. And this week, well, I am going to be stocking. Well, I've ordered it. Oh gosh, it's lovely. I'm not even going to tell anybody what it is. One person knows what it is. My friend Deb, because I just asked her about it, see if she'd knit with it and what have you. But that is going to be just lovely. So yes, lovely. Anyway, so now I'm going to go and get my granddaughter. Well, she's asleep. She usually comes to me, but she's fallen asleep at home. So rather than wake her up and have to trundle her across town, I'm just going to have a wander around the fair. They're just about a 10-minute walk away, so it'll get me out the house. And I'm going to go into town because I want to go to Fat Face because I've seen a nice cardigan I like, and because I haven't got time to knit one for to go to Edinburgh. Anyway, so on that note, take care, happy knitting, stay safe, and thank you for joining me. I do truly appreciate all the lovely comments that I get from you all and the encouraging words. So please leave a message, a nice message, because if it's horrible, I can't quite be sure that I wouldn't name and shame. Sorry. So on that note, bye.